Hello and welcome to Mindset Mondays with DTK. This is episode number 152. Oh, sorry, 151 in an ongoing series of live broadcasts designed for folks who are focused on getting better at being who they are at their core, and aren't distracted by merely getting better at doing what they do. So if you'll take just a moment, as you see below, and click share, I'd love you to invite your friends, your colleagues, your community to join the conversation. So, when I picked the quote for this broadcast, the control of the Senate was still up in the air, and things were a lot calmer in our country than they are right now, right? The Capitol had not erupted into destructive, violent protest, and the police and the federal agents weren't hunting down those participants in all the states to which they have returned. And as I watched the events of Wednesday, or when I watched the events of Tuesday, where a black man and a Jewish man were elected as senator by the state of Georgia, and woke up to that news solidified come Wednesday morning, only to watch that afternoon as our nation's capital descended into insanity, into an unproductive attack on our, as Biden called it, the Citadel of Liberty. I noticed a massive range of emotions coming up for me and feelings moving through me. And that's been happening since as well. And I've really pushed myself to stay with those feelings, to be with those feelings, and not just shove it down, but to really feel everything that was coming up. I chose to be with everything that's surfacing. It ranged from fear for our country and fear for what this meant to the other countries that rely upon us, and fear for what it meant for my family, for my business, for me, and concern over how people are going to talk to their children about this, how leaders would talk to their teams about this, and anxiety about my kids that were about to drive this past weekend from New England back to Atlanta, and sheer joy and glee over Mitch McConnell being demoted to minority leader. Well, the promise of it hasn't happened yet. But then again, I was blown away by McConnell's mic drop display of leadership on the Senate floor, speaking to what was right, not what was politically expedient or beneficial for him, but what was right, despite other members of the House and the Senate not doing the same. And I have a deep discomfort over the events planned for every capital city on January 17th as the largest armed protest in our country's history is planned for 51 Capitol buildings around the country. And feeling disappointment at our leadership, at both our current president, and our president-elect. Not seeing stronger leadership from the president-elect, and not seeing any leadership from the current occupant of the White House. and the sheer and utter deafening silence of our vice president. Doesn't matter which side you're on, all three of those things are appalling. That's not who we want as our leaders. And dismay over how easy it's been for me to dismiss supporters of the current president. I've been painting them with a broad brushstroke. And that's not fair. I may not understand it or agree with it, but these are still people who support him, not a monolithic block of them. Disappointment in our leaders' failure to speak truth to power when it mattered, and a feeling that I haven't done enough. And I'm unsettled at the impact that this could have on our nation. And I'm sad by the impact that this political upheaval, the cultural spasms we've been having, and the lockdown and pandemic that are still raging. What's the impact going to be on our children and their lives and the plans they've had? And I have this flat out terror that this could just be the beginning. And then I vacillate back and forth with excitement and joy that this could be the cultural spasms and cultural seizures that allow our country to face and begin to address the toxic issues in our culture. And that's a lot to navigate, and I'm not the only one navigating these. And you all have your range of emotions about this as well. And for some of us, it's very hard to talk about this, let alone conversations to ourselves, but also having conversations with those around us. But here's what's important. Peter Bregman is very clear. He's taught us that if you're willing to feel everything, you can do anything. If you are willing to feel everything, not sublimate it, not push it down, not squelch the things that are coming up, but be honest and in integrity with what's happening for you, you can do anything. I'm feeling it. And there's more to explore. And what I know deep in my heart that the only way to get beyond this swirling mix of emotions is through it. If I push it down, if I squelch it, if I pretend it's not there, if I choose to put a nice veneer over it, that energy is stored and contained, and I carry that like a weight, and it's draining. Quote long misattributed to Winston Churchill is that the only way, when you find yourself going through hell, keep going. There's no short-circuiting the emotional swirl that's happening. It will have its day in court. It will have its day in the sun. That energy will out. It can come up and through productively, or can run its course in an unhealthy way. That's your choice. For me to glean anything from this time or for me to create anything moving forward, I need to feel all of this first. Sublimating it drains my energy, cheats me of all the learning, it surrenders the growth that's possible, and it sacrifices all the possibility. It's my invitation for all of you is to feel all of this, to be with it, create space and time to sit and be with what's coming up, and talk to the people around you. Elaine had a conversation with a dear friend of ours yesterday who doesn't live in a major city. That's complicated. Things are complicated by the fact that her husband doesn't believe any of this is real, including the attack on the Capitol. So he's not a rational man. But she has nowhere to talk about this, to process it. She can't talk to her husband. Her kids are paying attention to him. She works in an environment where most of the people think like he does. And she's got nowhere to process this and talk about it. Doesn't matter which side she's on or which ideas she holds, she's keeping everything in. It's unhealthy. So the invitation to you is to feel everything and do it as consciously as possible. Do it out loud in connection with others. Now more than ever, we need each other. Now more than ever, we need each other. What are you willing to feel? Are you willing to feel everything? Right now, what this country needs more than anything else is people who are willing to feel and deal. To feel with it, feel it and deal with it. Because for us to create and heal our way out of this, we need to be in it fully. For us to make declarations of what it is that we want to see made possible and made real in this world, we need to be willing to feel everything so we can create our way out of this. So again, my invitation is on the screen. It's for all of you to feel everything and do it as consciously as possible, and do it out loud in connection with others. Be healthy, physically and emotionally. Good God, we all need it. This is a different kind of call to arms that we've been hearing than the one we've been hearing. It's a call to hearts. Connect with what you're feeling. Connect as consciously as possible and connect with others. Are you willing? Yeah. Enjoy your week.